Hi, it's Zakiyah. Welcome to another episode of Bibliobrainwaves. I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Andrea Randle. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and what she does.
Right. Hello, everyone. I am Andrea Randle, and I am a faith-based practitioner, and I help individuals who are high-achieving survivors not only overcome, but they also are able to thrive with restorative tools and practices that we implement through a faith-based lens. I also am a five-time author, as well as I operate a testing center through Pearson View. So I wear many hats.
Wow, okay. Well, I am so excited to talk with you today
Yes.
because we got some good topics. We're still discussing our book, Resisting Happiness by Matthew Kelly. And our first topic is on resisting God and how that has showed up in our lives, right?
Hmm.
Because I think all of us have kind of had an inkling where we were supposed to do something, but we didn't follow that path because we were either scared or something like that was going on. And we didn't really trust ourselves, our gut feeling that we all get. They say it's women's intuition, but men have it too, you know. Um, so, are you open to talking about a situation or maybe somebody that you knew of where they weren't listening to themselves and then it kind of got them in a space that they weren't too happy with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of everyday life where, we kind of do our own thing. I know for me, I've resisted God in many points in my life where I felt like I knew better and my decisions were the best decisions, and it led me to lose a job before because God told me to do something and I didn't do it, and it had a ripple effect. Not only that, but not connecting with certain people. And he has led me to talk to people, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to talk to that person. And fear and disobedience combined led me to miss out on opportunities that he was orchestrating in my life because I didn't move when he told me to move. So resisting God, it does lead to unfortunate consequences that have lasting impact later on.
Yeah, exactly. I remember there was a time where before I moved to Arizona, where I am now, I
Hmm.
had been resisting the urge to move because I was comfortable where I was. I was used to the chaos I was experiencing, right? And sometimes we get used to the chaos. Sometimes it's not that we like it, it's all we know.
We
And
normalize it.
that
Yeah.
causes that fear to move or make a decision as well. The fear of the unknown
Yes.
and the desire to control the unknown, to make it known, right?
Right. Yes.
And so, you know, I think a lot of that has to do with maybe how we identify with God.
Ooh,
Like,
that's a
I
good one.
wonder if, do you feel like a lot of the reason why we have a hard time listening to God is because we separate God from ourselves? Like we
Ooh,
see God as a
that's
separate
heavy.
entity.
A lot of times I can speak from a personal experience that I had when it comes to fearing God. I didn't have a father growing up. And sometimes, we acknowledge God as being God the Father. And I had an issue with that. I had an issue with that because I didn't know, what does a father do? How does a father supposed to make you feel?
Mm,
And
okay.
I'll never forget, I was praying one time, and on the inside, I heard this as clear as I'm talking to you. And it said, you are afraid of me, and you're afraid of trusting me because you don't know what a good father is.
Ooh.
And that
Woo. Okay,
really,
wait a minute now. Okay. Because I know so many people who have parental issues, and that's
mhm,
huge to
mhm.
discover that you might have a hard time believing in this because your actual human parental figure was not good.
Was not there, or
That's
he was
powerful.
absent. Mine was
Right.
completely absent. And so I could relate to Jesus. I could take that. But when it came down to that authority figure of God the Father, I struggled with that a lot until I got to a point of saying, okay, God, you show me what a good father is. And he had to really take me back through my life and show me I was here at this point and I helped you. I was here at this point. I sent this person into your life and they helped you because a good father always looks out for what's best for you. And
Yes.
so he had to really assert himself in my life in a way to where he was using real examples and real people in real time to remind me that I was there all along. And I don't struggle as much at this point in my life as I did then, but I'm telling you, it's real, and God understands it. And so the best way to understand him as being a part of us on the inside is recognizing, okay, I have an issue with you.
Hmm.
I got a
Hmm.
problem with you here. And when you get real on that level, becoming one with him in an everyday essence makes life so much easier to deal with.
Yeah, wow. I love that you have that perspective to really break it down and say it's the issue of authority that's the problem,
Hmm.
and to address that within yourself and whomever it may concern. And then you can get to the root of why you might have an issue with religion or God or universe, whatever word you want to say, right?
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
It's real.
No,
It's
I've
real.
never seen it like that. I've known a lot of people who have broken homes, but it never, like, I never attached the two. I never
Right.
connected that, because a lot of them do say either I'm an atheist or I don't know
Mhm.
in general, and
Right.
I'm like, where's the disconnect?
Where's the disconnect?
Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and a lot of it does start in childhood, especially when there is a broken home, or even if the father is there, right? But dad works a lot. So dad isn't there, but he's providing. And so
right.
that emotional connection, and then also we develop poor communication styles because we don't have people in the home that we can clearly express ourselves with, right? So now we
Mm-hmm.
struggle with emotional trust, we struggle with psychological trust because you're not here and I don't feel safe enough to share my thoughts and emotions with you. So yeah,
Right.
it plays a huge role.
Wow. Well, that gave me some perspective on some relationships that I have with other people too, because this actually works out really well into the next topic we're going to talk about, which is about life being kind of messy and understanding that compassion for people who have
Mm,
those experiences, who have those, toxic ties with other people that don't allow them to create a positive connection with source, with a higher power, right?
right, right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think, you
Hmm.
know, I I think the general thing is to understand that everybody's dealing with something.
Yes.
Um, whether it's, you know, people can have too much money, as hard as it is to believe. People can have too much money and
Hmm.
they're not using it properly, right? And then the people who don't have enough money, then they have an issue. I feel like the biggest thing that really hurts us as a community is that we forget that we're all on the same level playing field at the end of the day.
Right, right.
Whether we have more, less, or in the middle.
Hmm. You're right. Yeah,
Eh,
I mean, life can get very messy
mhm.
because of how you view life too. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, when you're talking about the messiness in relationships, we have normalized trauma bonding. And so we
Hmm.
connect with people that have been through the same hell that we've been through, and we're like, yes, you understand me. We're gonna be partners. And now you have essentially partnered your life, your destiny with someone who has gone through hell and hasn't come out of it on the other side, and you've gone through
Mhm.
hell, and so now y'all are both at each other's throat because y'all are fighting each other to get up out of that space that you desperately
Mhm.
want to get out of. And it's
Exactly.
hard to see the other side. And so life
Mhm.
becomes very messy when you aren't able to change your perspective, or you aren't able to see yourself, or you're able to imagine yourself in a different financial bracket, or a different zip code, as you were saying, or a different job, but you're not willing to do the work and the effort it takes to actually acquire it. um
Yes.
and so it's easy to stay messy. It's hard to want to get yourself cleaned up and get that Dawn soap and wash yourself off, and get that oil up off you, and step into the
Yeah.
new, because that's scary. Not only is it scary, but it also has to break that bond that you made with that person or those people who were going through the same hell that you were going through, and you were
Yeah.
understand life that way. Um, and so we don't want to change. We don't want to lose those connections, because man, they was in the trenches with me. We got it from the mud together. Well, now you don't
Mhm.
have to get it from the mud. You can get it off the table. You know.
Yeah.
And so the reality is, how messy do you want to stay? I think that's the real question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, and then especially if you have somebody that comes into your life who isn't who who has a totally different perspective than
Mhm.
you, or, the group of people that you hang with, then they're more easily able to be ostracized
Mm.
because it's like they don't think like us.
Yeah, they're
They don't,
different. Yep.
you know but and if especially if that difference is positive, and then
Yeah.
it starts to look to that person like you're better than them, then they start to compare themselves. And
Yep.
a lot of times they don't have to, because that
Mhm.
person is just being them. And
Right.
but the other person's perspective is like, wait, I have to, be like them, I got to bring myself up, and then it creates a panic
Or I
within
have to, or they
themselves.
want me to change myself. You'll hear that a lot, is when people have tapped into a place in their life where they sound different, they think different, they speak different, right? And so now the person that's still struggling with their identity, or they're struggling with those same messiness that they are accustomed to, and that person is trying to bring out the best in them. Man, you want me to change, you want me to be
Yep.
disloyal over here, and it's not really about that. It's about somebody being able to see greater in you than you see for yourself, and
Right.
and willing to help you achieve it. But
Hmm.
like I said, it's hard work to get that messiness
Yep.
off of you and
You
change
got to
that
be ready.
mindset. Yeah, you're right.
And
Yeah.
not only do you have to be ready, when you are ready, you have to have the support group around you that is
Mm.
ready also to help you.
Yes, powerful. And there's a quote, Zakiyah, that says, if you change your mind, you will save your life. And
Yes.
that's very profound, because if we change how we think about ourselves and our situations, it does shift how we view the life that we're living. So having those like-minded people is not just a saying, it's real. You want people around you that are like-minded, that can help you grow and be better and do better, not to stay the same, and then you're struggling and you're languishing in life without purpose. So yeah.
Right. And I think that's an important distinction that you just made, because there's a lot of people that are going around with that quote in their head that you're supposed to be around like minded people to get to where you want to be. But
Hmm.
there's a different type of like minded people. There's like minded people that match your trauma, and like minded people that match where you want to be to get past that trauma. So you
Right.
got to choose the likeness, you
Yes.
know?
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. You got to choose the likeness, right? We talk about being in alignment. And also when you walk with people through life and you are in agreement with them, it forms that one road, right? And so we have to be mindful that I'm not attaching myself to someone that, even though we're walking the same road, it's going to lead to a dead end. You got to be able to
Mm-hmm.
see further down that road and say, hey, man, I think we're going the wrong way. and be bold enough to turn around and change the trajectory of the direction of your life. So I think all of that bodes well to say it's worth getting out of the mess. It's
Yes.
worth
Yes.
get yourself cleaned up. It's worth getting out that mess. Yes.
Exactly. And I think that also trickles down into the community. For
Yeah.
those of us
Ooh,
who, live our lives as people pleasers, even
yes.
though we shouldn't be, but if we are going to choose that path, it's kind of a resistance of not listening to yourself when you don't help others.
Yes.
If you know something and somebody else and you see somebody struggling, like especially in a social emotional environment, and you know that they might not have good social skills or
Right.
something like that, and you know that what they're saying is not what they actually mean, they just
Right.
don't know how to portray it correctly,
That's true.
then if you don't help that person, then
Mm-hmm.
it destroys the community that you're trying to create, because then now other people are looking at them like, this person is rude, this person is such and such. It's like, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to be that.
Right.
Sometimes they just need some help, right? And
Right.
I think that's fair for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody needs some help somewhere, and
Community. Yeah,
it's
what you're
deserved.
saying is community. And each one teach one is very real, but nowadays it's no longer each one teach one. It's each one pay for what I know.
Okay.
know? So, like,
Okay.
I know how to help you, but you need to pay for the information and knowledge I'm about to share with you. And so it's no longer about community and unity. It's all about, commerce and make it and getting me where I want to be. But, in any real society that's going to thrive, grow, prosper, and get further along, it's really understanding the more that I give to you, the further ahead I will get. And
Exactly.
that's a whole different mindset. And that to me is real. That's what real community is about. But because we have been hurt and we've been um not regarded in our communities, we kind of shield ourselves and we isolate ourselves and we protect ourselves from the very help that is out there because we don't trust. We're not open to anyone saying, "Hey, I really want to help you." The question is, if that person may be feeling like, "Well, if I accept your help, how much is it going to cost me?" you
Mhm.
know and so yeah, so we have to really get back to understanding what community is and how to really build community.
And also, that cost is not just monetary. How
Oh
is
yeah.
it going to
Peace.
affect you spiritually, emotionally,
Yeah,
mentally, and physically?
you're right.
Okay? So, we're
Hmm.
not just talking about payment exchanges and everything like that. We're really
Hmm.
talking about how's it going to affect your life?
How's it going to affect your soul, your spirit, your
Mm-hmm.
mindset? Yeah, your peace of mind, your values, your morals, right? So yeah, you're
Exactly.
absolutely right on that one.
And, I just want to say that I think that's one of the biggest things that we're probably going to talk about, because at the end of the day, it's a
Hmm.
loss of compassion.
Oh
It's
yeah.
the idea that there's a loss of compassion
Hmm.
when an arrogance and ego take over,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
realize that you know more than someone else.
Right.
That's when that crossroads happens of, should I
Hmm.
help? Should I not?
Yeah.
How is it going to look for me if I help? How is it going to look
Exactly.
if I don't?
Hmm.
Because people are worried about appearances, people are worried about social and political status and all of that kind of stuff, that
Hmm.
really don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Um,
And what does compassion really mean, right? I think that goes back to your original thought, was when we talk about expressing and sharing in compassion, that's the deepest form of both empathy and love combined, right?
mhm,
That is compassion. And so when we talk about love for self, love for one another, you are able to put yourself in another person's shoes and say, wow, I can understand what this person could possibly be thinking and feeling. And so we don't empathize with each other's struggles and plights in life as much as we should. What if it was me? What if it was my
right.
child? Or what if it was my mother? Whoever? How would I feel? What would I do? And because of that, compassion moves you to want to take action and to want to do something.
Right. And I
Hmm.
think also we can't put that responsibility on the person, or just one person, I should say.
Right.
It's
Hmm.
the responsibility of two people to share information about what's going on.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if one person is trying to connect, trying to get information to then know how to treat you properly, but then if you're just kind of pushing them away and it's like, no, I don't want to
Hmm.
share that part of myself, but you can't get angry when they don't
Yeah.
treat you the way you want to be treated because
Hmm.
they don't know.
Right.
And,
Right.
so there has to be a truth and a willingness to be vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Yes. And that's
Um,
a heart issue too, Zakia. Like, what's going on the inside? How, emotionally, how willing are you to let others really get in? Do you feel
mhm.
less than a man, less than a woman, less than an individual when someone can see you for who you really are and still love you in spite of that and still want to help you in spite of that? And so, yeah, it's really about the willingness to accept love, to accept help, to accept someone seeing you in your raw state and still loving you and understanding you through all of that.
Exactly, exactly. And then, I can acknowledge people who even see closeness as a threat,
Yeah.
because there are people who
Hmm.
feel like when you try to get close to them, you're trying to do something strange.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
trying to manipulate them or whatever
Yeah.
like that. Like, why are you being so nice?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. What's your motive, the manipulation behind it?
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could tell them to your faces, Blue, I just want to know how to love you. I just want to know how to care for you. And even that sounds like, for what?
For what? Yeah.
What kind of plans you got going?
That
You
skeptic.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's hard if people have that wall up, and that's something they got to work on themselves, because you also can't put the weight on you to make or to help them change.
That's
You
true.
know, if they don't give you the keys to their heart, you can't sit there and break in.
Right. Right. That's real. That boundary. You got to respect people's boundaries, even as much as and that's a part of compassion as well, is understanding that I haven't earned the right to unlock this door just yet. Sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
want the keys to everything that a person owns, right? Including their heart, their mind, their emotions.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we haven't earned those keys sometimes. Those keys haven't been even made available for us to access. And so we have to have compassion and meet people where they are, even though it may be uncomfortable and it can be painful. In my line of work, I always tell people helping people is a dirty job because
Mm-hmm.
you gotta, you getting down to the root, to the muck, to the deepest crevices that very few people may have access to. So it's a privilege when a person allows you to gain access to their heart, their mind, their emotions, and we must treat each other just like that. It's a privilege.
Exactly. And then also to note that sometimes people don't even have the keys to their own heart.
Right.
Sometimes people don't have access to it themselves because they've cut their own selves off
Yes.
from
Yes.
emotion, to not
Mhm.
feel because they've been hurt so much,
Yeah.
to not think as much because they've been hurt, the trauma.
The trauma.
It
Yeah.
hurts to access that area of themselves.
Hmm.
And so to respect that too and be like, okay, well, if you can't access it, I know daggone well I can't
I
do it,
can't
because
access it. Right.
and you have to understand that,
Yeah.
and it's hard, especially if you're an empath, if you're
Yeah.
somebody who just cares and
Hmm.
sees that pain in them, and you
And you
really
want to
want
heal
to,
it. Yes.
you want, like,
Mhm.
because especially if you have to be around that person all the time and you can feel that heavy
Yes.
energy that they carry, right?
Hmm.
And you're just like, let me get this up off you, I know how to
Yeah.
help you, but then
Yep.
just circles back to, you have to respect when you can't help.
Yeah.
And that's very hard, but
Yeah.
learning how to do it is a very necessary skill if
Right.
you're going to be wanting to be a healer in general, or just
Right.
be a good person in
And
general, you
sometimes we
know?
want to measure. We want to measure, well, I've done this and I've shown you this, and And sometimes you can't really measure it in that regard, because
Mhm.
like you said, that person may have cut themselves off from thinking, from feeling, from connecting. And so you just showing up and being present and being consistent, be consistently who you are, that loving, caring, giving individual, and you don't know what degree is actually needed and is working to heal that person and allow them to say, wow, no matter how much I push that person away, they keep showing up. They keep being encouraging. They keep letting me know that I'm on their mind and that they care. And so that aspect of healing is still working. That energy of healing is still going out. So you don't know at what degree was needed to really get to that warm place in that person's heart and mind. So that's very
Right.
powerful. Yeah.
And so now on to our last topic, which is, realizing that something is missing, like, listening to God when we're distressed.
Hmm.
That really does tie into what we've been talking about as far as not pretending that we're happy,
Right.
because that really defies our our whole awareness of self.
Right. Right.
Like you could say, I don't like this person. Like, say you got a crush on somebody, but they did you wrong or something. It's like, I don't like
Yeah.
them no more. But then
Right. Right.
you thinking about them all the time.
Yep.
They
Yep. You
and
like
it's
them even
like,
more now.
yeah, yeah, and it's wild because I think things stick in your brain and in your heart when you know it's meant for you. It might have been wrong situation, wrong time, but if
Right.
it's still in your heart and it carries in that way, then it's just something that was not now, maybe
Not
later.
now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's really hard to keep in mind when you really, really want something.
Hmm.
And so you start to say, God hasn't been listening to me because I
Yeah.
wanted this. I prayed, I manifested, I did all the things that I was told to do, and I still haven't seen it in your time.
In your time. Yeah.
Because what we're forgetting is that there's a whole network of things happening outside of what we want to happen. Things
Absolutely.
have to fall into place.
Yeah.
You know, things have to fall in place for other people.
Hmm.
Things have to fall in place for you.
Yeah.
And, other things are working out. But
Yeah.
so it's easy, but from our perspective, we're only seeing our perspective.
We're only
So
our
it's easy to
perspective.
give up and say, you know what, I'm going with what I want to do because, I asked for this like months ago. I asked for this
Hmm.
years ago and it still hasn't happened. Fine,
Right.
whatever. I wasn't supposed to do it.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
I think it's important. That's why I think taking stock, taking inventory of what you've accomplished
Hmm.
periodically every couple of months to keep your brain in tune with what you've got on track and what you don't, make sure you're in alignment and things like that. It's really important to do on a consistent basis, so then you understand, okay, I'm still working towards what I want. I'm
Hmm.
still in alignment what I want. It's not happening the way I thought it would,
Right.
which ties back to not having control over outcomes and understanding that.
Right.
But to know that things will happen when you're ready. And if
When
you're
you're
still
ready.
in that panic mode of trying to control it, that means you're not ready.
Hmm.
I think the
Yeah.
biggest sign to know when you are ready for what you've been asking for is when you stop asking for it.
Mm. Oh, that's deep. That's a good one. That's real good. Yeah. I mean, we're in an instant gratification system, right? World.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get dissatisfied with God, saying, God, you didn't answer me over here, and I've been praying for years, or I've been asking for months, and everybody else around me has gotten what I've been asking for. You're absolutely right. There comes a place where is your heart of gratitude in what you do have? Because sometimes we want and we want without taking, like you said, taking inventory of what you have received. And sometimes that's the real lesson, is the delayed gratification, being able for you to reflect on, am I grateful for the things that I do have, for the
Mhm.
opportunities, for the experiences, for the people that have helped or have reached out. And so, oftentimes the dissatisfaction is misplaced, and we have to put it on someone or something instead of looking at ourselves and say, hey, is it me? Am I putting too much stock into this, that, or the third? Am I even
Right.
ready for what I'm asking for? Just because so and
Mhm.
so got it, am I going to appreciate it like they are? Maybe that's why they got it. They were ready and willing to have an appreciative heart and mind for it. And so,
Mhm.
oftentimes I look at my own life and I prayed for a lot of things. And I can tell you that even where I'm at in my life right now, when I was praying for this, that, and the third, then I thought I was really ready. I mean, 100% I was ready in my own mind. But then, like you said, we don't factor in the variables, the other people, right? Their actions, their thoughts, their this and their that. And so when I took my focus off of what I wanted or what I was asking for and began to cultivate the very things that I did have, when the blessings started rolling in, they came in a way of like, oh my gosh, wow, I wasn't even expecting this. Because I had
Mhm.
forgot what I had prayed about back then, right?
Yep.
And so now I'm sitting in a place of true gratitude because I realized, wow, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I wasn't emotionally mature. I wasn't mentally mature. I wasn't spiritually mature to handle this level of responsibility or this level of impact that I'm now having on other people's lives. So, yeah, taking inventory and understanding that dissatisfaction is more so a you issue than a God issue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I there have been so many times where I gave up on something, and then it came right,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe weeks after I had stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, because I found myself asking my husband, how come every time I give up on something, then it wants to turn around? And I'm like, I don't even want it no more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fact.
and it happens that way with everything. And I
Yeah.
would be so frustrated because I'm like, okay, well now I'm on to something else, but okay, come
I
on.
moved on.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I think that has a lot to say about staying in flow,
Ooh, yeah.
um acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
that it's not here yet, but that's
Yeah.
okay,
But it's
because I
coming.
have this to focus on
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
This is in my face. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I want to be, but that's not here right now.
Right. Yeah.
So,
But it's
the
coming,
old
right?
saying, yeah, you cross that bridge when you get to it, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's like, the bridge is there, the bridge is coming, but where are you at right now?
Right.
It's just like if you think about Dora, she's at one place, she's trying to get to another place, but
Yeah.
she's got to go through all these different things to get to
Yes.
that one place.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't see the troll that's going to be coming from under the bridge. You can't
Right.
see that somebody's
Or
going
that
to
snake that's
come.
gonna come off the tree. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't know what's coming,
Mm-hmm.
but you do know that you're going to get somewhere.
Right.
And you're going to and then you're going to end up where you want to be, as long as you stay determined
Yeah. And consistent.
on your path,
Yeah.
and not really focused on how results are coming to you or
Wow.
what they look like. Don't
Yeah.
focus on the how, don't focus on what you perceive it to look like,
Mm-hmm. Right.
but know that you on the path to what you want.
That's powerful, Zakia. And it's something that you can definitely leave with the listeners, that you are responsible for the input and you have to leave the output for what it is. If
Yes.
you know that you're doing everything you can with the input, let the results be what they are. Let them land where they are. That's out of your control. And I've had to learn that for myself. Like, God, I'm doing everything I can. I'm grinding. I'm getting up. I'm being consistent. I'm connecting. I'm doing all these things. And that was something that was really deeply spoken to my spirit, is that as long as you are responsible in handling the input, let me handle the output. And I just live my life like that now. I don't have that weight on me of trying to strive and grind so hard, because now I'm responsible of what I'm putting in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, I can make a note for people who do tarot readings as well. Because,
Mhm.
we get a lot of clients who expect us to have the answer that they want. But then
Mm.
we give them the answer that they need, as far as, this is just guidance. It's
Got.
not going to happen exactly the way you want, but just to understand that you are where you need to be.
Mm.
And, God's not going to give you more than what you can handle, even though it can feel that way.
Mhm.
But it's just because you're not acknowledging all of your resources.
Right.
And one of those resources being yourself.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to also acknowledge that you are a resource for yourself.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
you have to have your own why for yourself. You cannot have external whys for why you do things only.
Mhm. Mm.
So include yourself in your why.
Yeah.
And that would actually initiate more self-love. It's a self-love ritual
Mm.
that
Got.
I think really is needed to help us ground ourselves,
Mhm.
which also helps in helping us identify what the concept of a God is, what
Mm.
spirit is, when we can
Mhm.
ground ourselves in who we are.
Gotcha. And for me, it's what I can appreciate in this life is that everybody wants something greater than themselves. And for me, I
Yes.
don't do tarot cards and things of that such. But people are looking for answers. They're looking for guidance. They're
Yes.
looking for a better way to be, a better way to feel, a better way to acquire whatever it is. And
Yep.
so oftentimes a lot of it has to do with, are you listening? Are you
Mm-hmm.
in tune with yourself? Are you taking a moment to really assess what's happening to you physiologically? What's happening to you psychologically? Um,
Yes.
what's happening to you spiritually? And so all of that, everything has a place. And so for
Mm-hmm.
those that are on the spectrum of needing that extra guidance outside of whatever, or for those that are more in tune with God and who they know God is for their life, like,
Right.
the reality is, are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening? Are you being obedient? Are you taking stock? Are you being grateful? Are you tapping into the greatest measure of who you are? Because we are all great. But do you believe
Yes.
that you're great? Do you believe that you are great? And so, so at the end of the day, we really have to be very cognizant of, who am I and who do I want to
Yes.
show up as in this world?
Yes. And I like that you said, you know, are you receiving your messages?
Hmm.
Because, I hear a lot of people say, forget who told you the message. Did you get the message? Because God sends messengers through different entities, through animals,
Hmm.
through people, whether you're close to them or not. A message can be given to you in any type of
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
But, it's whether you received it. It's not how you got the message that's important.
Gotcha. Gotcha. If we're
And
if we're yeah, we're mindful, we God speaks in many ways. He speaks through dreams, visions. He speaks through,
mhm,
you could be watching a TV show and like somebody will say something, you'd be like, oh, that's the answer right there, right? Like,
exactly.
it's like, but
Mhm.
you gotta open yourself to want to, um, you gotta open yourself to want to receive the truth of whatever it is that you've been looking for and seeking after. And I'm mindful of that. If I know that I prayed for something, I'm not going to walk through this life blind as if I didn't pray. I'm looking for the answer in everything. You know,
Yep.
I'm looking, you know, that blind man crossing that street, he may have an answer I'm looking for, right? And
Right, right,
so,
right, right.
and so at the end of the day, you know, you really, we all have free will, and we all have the ability to tap into higher source, God the divine, you know, if you know, Jesus Christ. The reality is this: are you staying true to who you are, and are you listening? And are you willing to do the work to be better, do better, and live better than yesterday, last month? There
Ex-
should be progress in your life. There should be
exactly.
progress.
And I'm so grateful that you were willing to join me to talk about these things today, because it's
Yeah.
really important, and definitely you hit some serious points that even I'm going to take with myself,
Yes.
because I mean, just being open to different perspectives is really
Mhm.
important to understand how people connect to life.
Yeah. We all don't have one answer. You know, like
That's right.
you know, in every walk of life, there's 10% that we can grab. 10% here, 10% here. And you know, those 10% are going to equal up to 100%. And it's like, okay, how do I synthesize all of this and make it make sense for me? And so we can learn from each other. You know, I may not share the same perspectives, or I may not share the same spiritual guidelines that you have, or whatever the case may be, but I can still learn. I can still
Right.
appreciate, and I can still love you no matter what. And I think that if we as humans can understand that and reciprocate that, half the issues that we have will be eliminated for real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely want to second that. You know, people don't have to have the same beliefs and perspectives
Right. They
to have
don't.
an understanding.
To agree. Yeah, I can agree with you. I can, like, wow, that's a good point, you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
can synthesize it through my spiritual lens and through my heart and
Yep.
say, wow, I love that. I like, you know, Zakiyah was on to something without making a judgment or be demeaning or be be in any way other than light and love, right? That's the whole point. We're
Exactly.
supposed to be light and love. And so when we operate in that, no matter what, you're going to be covered in that love and covered in that light. And I'm
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
walk away feeling great. And you're going to walk away feeling great. And then we can go and do what we're supposed to be doing. I just believe that.
Exactly. I love that for us. Look at us.
Love, black
So,
love. Yeah. I
exactly,
love it.
exactly.
Yes.
So now what I want you to do is kind of
Mhm.
tell people, what's coming up next, what you got going, and let them know where they can find you.
Okay, well, I'm definitely on Instagram under Compassion Clinic Resources. I'm also on Facebook under Hope Navigator, because that is what I want to give. I want to navigate this life with hope. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me underneath my name, Andrea Randle, on LinkedIn as well. What I have coming up is an event coming up August 29th. It is called Give Yourself a Yes. So it is very motivational, inspirational, and it is very much tied into understanding that you can block yourself from your own greatness when you don't give yourself permission to succeed, overcome, forgive, and surrender. And so look for us on Eventbrite under Give Yourself a Yes. And I will look forward to having you join us on that day. It's a Saturday. And so this has been wonderful. Thank you, Zakiyah. Thank you. Thank you. And she
Thank
and I are
you.
connected on OWL. So if you're not on the OWL app, here's a plug. Download that OWL,
Okay.
use the code HOPE, and get that $10 free money that Jason gives away on there for making calls and connecting with people. We're all one big circle, so let's connect together and make it right.
That's right. And thank you again, Andrea. And I look forward to talking with you more. And
Yes.
I will see y'all on the next episode. And I'll catch y'all in the next way. Bye.
Bye bye.